James Allen says, as a being of power, as a being of intelligence, as a being of love, and the Lord of his own thoughts, man holds the key to every situation. Let me personalize this. As a being of power, as a being of intelligence, as a being of love, and the Lord of your own thoughts, you hold the key to every situation. And you have within yourself the transformative and the regenerative agency by which you may make yourself what you will. Let me go again. As a being of power, love, and intelligence, and the Lord of your own thoughts, you hold the key to every situation in your life. And you have within yourself the transformative and the regenerative agency by which you can make yourself what you will. What does these words make? I'm breaking it down. When we talk about you have within yourself the transformative agency, it means you have the ability to change your character and to change your conditions. Whatever condition or whatever character you find yourself in, because you are a being of power, you are a being of intelligence, you are a being of love, you have the power within yourself to change the conditions in which you find yourself today and to change the character set. You have the regenerative capability to grow again and be restored to a higher, loftier, and more worthy state where your master wants you to be. Pay attention to this. You are no accident. You're a being of power. You're a being of love. You're a being of intelligence. And because you are a being of power, love, intelligence, you can transform yourself through the power by which you have been given. And I'm going to start on 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 3. And please note this down. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 3 says, "For his divine power has bestowed on us, on you, on me, absolutely everything necessary for a dynamic spiritual life and godliness." When we talk about godliness, God's abiding presence. Through the true, full, and personal knowledge of him who has called us by his own glory and excellence. For his divine power has given you and I everything we need for a dynamic spiritual life, for a fruitful spiritual life, for an influential spiritual life, and for God's abiding presence. But we only get there through the true and personal knowledge of him. So what I'm actually going to do today, we're going to go deeper, and we're going to get a bit into the theory. We're going to get a bit into the theory of understanding your mind, understanding your being, and understanding the way things work. Because again, it's through knowledge, it's through real knowledge, insight, that we're going to win the battle. What I'm going to take you to is I'm going to take you to Solomon's temple. And Solomon's temple, which is the most described, the temple where you have a lot of description in the Bible, had a number of, for lack of a better word, components. Or it was divided into a number of places. So we had the Holy of Holies. We had the holy place. And then you had the porch and the inner court, and then the outer court. But the place where the priest went, only the priests were allowed into the inner court, and the high priest into the holy place. And once in a year, the high priest went into the Holy of Holies. Everything that God has done, everything that God has written, It is a type. It is a type. There's a typology. So Bible refers to us as you are the temple of God. When Bible says you are the temple of God, it means that your makeup is constructed after the temple of God. What happens is just that, as God says, you are the temple of God. In your being, you have a holy place, you have a holy of holies, and you have an outer court. And I'm going to today is about showing you the compartmentalization of your being. And I'm not just showing you the compartmentalization of your being, but actually, if you understand your makeup and what controls what, it gives you the ability to be more successful. So I talked about the Holy of Holies, where only the high priest went once in a year. But when Jesus Christ died, you know the veil, the curtain that's separated the Holy of Holies from the Holy was torn, so we then all gained entry. Today, we're going to start working through how your makeup, you have an inner court, you have a holy place, and there's a Holy of Holies. And your ability to understand the makeup of your being and what drives what in your being starts making you successful. So what I'm going to do is think about, I talked about the inner court of your being. And the inner court of your being is what typically, when you hear people talk about, is the conscious part of your makeup. The conscious part of your makeup. So when I say conscious, it's the part of your makeup, your mind, the part of your mind you control, the conscious mind. So the conscious mind relates to your thoughts, your emotions, and it bets your character, your conscious mind. There's a conscious part of your mind, and then we will talk about the unconscious part of your makeup. So let me start with the conscious mind. One of the things that we talked about a few weeks ago is that your thoughts drive everything that happened to you. So we talked about your thoughts as the dance leader, as the master choreographer. Your thoughts drive your emotions and drive your actions. But your thoughts do more than drive your emotions and your actions and desires. Your thoughts is the gateway to your inner man, which is called this, Paul called, if you remember in Ephesians 3:16, Paul talks that you will be strengthened with might and power in the inner man. This is what the inner man is. The inner man, your subconscious, the part of your being which you do not have immediate direct control of. You have control of what happens here in terms of your thoughts and your emotions and your desires. And your thoughts and your emotions and your desires are the gateway to your inner man. Today, what I want you to pay attention to is what happens here in the realm of the conscious influences what happens in the realm of the unconscious. So I'm going to really take it very steady because you need to get it. You really, if you're going to, the winner's mindset is about controlling what happens in the inner court. Because what happens in the inner court affects what happens in the holy place, which is the subconscious mind. So you are the master of your life. You need to do is to search diligently upon the law on which you established. You've got to direct your energies and intelligence to become a conscious master of your thoughts and your thinking. Being the wise master of your being starts with your ability to control and manage what determines every aspect of your life, and that's your thoughts. Because what happens here affects everything that happens down here in the realm of the soul, and then sends the signal embedding in your subconscious mind. I'm saying you've got to focus your thoughts, because what you put in your thoughts determines what happens in your life. So when I say focus your thoughts on fruitful thoughts, in terms of this gateway, which is the gateway of thought, which is the gateway to your soul and the gateway to your subconscious, you've got to fill it with pure thoughts. You've got to fill it with true thoughts. You've got to fill it with healthy thoughts, lovely thoughts, peaceful thoughts, admirable thoughts, thoughts of good repute, praiseworthy thoughts, thoughts of excellence, respectful thoughts, friendly thoughts, thoughts of good report. Don't allow any thought pattern that is not consistent with Philippians 4:8 to go through this gateway. Take it captive immediately. Any thought that is not consistent with Philippians 4:8, and you've got to know Philippians 4:8 like nobody. Anybody saying anything to you, any report you are hearing, if it's not consistent with whatsoever is pure, whatsoever is just, whatsoever is of pure repute, take that thought captive. Demolish that thought. If you don't demolish it and it enters this gateway, even in the inner court here, it will start having ramifications on your emotions, your choices and actions, and it will push the signal into your subconscious mind. And when it gets into the subconscious mind, I'll start telling you what happens in the subconscious mind. All your experiences, and this is what is important, all your experiences, the events and the acts of your subconscious mind, every experience, every event, every condition that happens to you, is this part of your mind that produces it, the subconscious. So the signal comes from your thoughts and is sent to the subconscious. But in terms of the things that are happening to you in your life, this receptacle here, the subconscious, has received a signal and then takes absolute control of your life. And that is what is important. So a wonderful way to begin to understand your mind is to think of it as a garden. Think of your mind as a garden, and you are the gardener. You are planting seeds of thoughts in your subconscious. So your thoughts here are seeds. But when you take the seeds, which are your thoughts, those seeds get planted in the inner man, which Bible keeps referring to as the heart. Unfortunately, it's the Greek language and the Hebrew get a bit confused. So when it says heart, it's not referring to the pump or what is here. Normally when we're talking about in your heart, no. It's not your heart here, it's your subconscious mind. When the signal of the seed, the thoughts happen here, the thoughts that you are planting seeds of thoughts in your subconscious mind all day long. Much of the time, you are not even aware of what you are planting here, because most of it is made out of habitual thinking. As you sow your thoughts as seeds in the subconscious mind, the thought process starts planting its seeds here. It starts reaping in your soul and in your body. So you send a signal from here, from your thoughts, your conscious mind, into your subconscious, and your subconscious starts creating the condition, the characteristics, the characters, the circumstances in which you find your life. So if you sow thoughts as the thoughts get sown in your subconscious mind, you shall reap in your body in your environment and in your circumstances. A subconscious mind is like a bed of rich soil. That's the soil of your mind. And it will help all kinds of seeds to sprout and flourish, whether good or bad. So if you sow thorns in your subconscious mind, if your thinking is thorny thinking, you shall reap thorny outcome. Whatever you sow, your subconscious mind does not differentiate. It will take whatever you give it. But whatever you give it, if you sow thorns, you will reap thorns. If you sow corn, you will reap corn. If you sow grapes, you will reap grapes. You cannot sow thistles and reap mangoes. Whatever you sow here. So the law of sowing and reaping applies. But remember that you control what you sow. But whatever you sow, the subconscious will reap for you. So this is why it's important to take absolute control of what you're thinking about. Because if you're thinking good thoughts, pure thoughts, it will birth the effects and conditions. And one of the things that I want you to think about is that no one will allow garbage at their dining table. So like tonight, I'm talking to you from our front room, our dining table. But I will not allow anybody to serve trash, like the kitchen trash, to bring trash anywhere near my dining table, because that's the place I eat. Unfortunately, we allow trash to be served to our mind, garbage to be served to our mind, through social media, through TV, through print media, through friends. But remember the law: garbage in, garbage out. Garbage in, garbage out. You sow garbage, you reap garbage. So it is unreasonable to think that hours of digesting unhealthy material will result in a healthy mind and spirit. So whatever you put here is that what that determines whether that inner man is going to be strengthened or weakened. When your mind thinks correctly, it means that thoughts deposited in your subconscious mind are constructive, harmonious, and peaceful. So if you want your mind to work properly, if you want the subconscious to work properly, then you need to be depositing harmonious thoughts, constructive thoughts. If the thoughts are not constructive, take them down, demolish them, give them an opportunity. If it's not peaceful, because whatever you deposit in the subconscious mind magnetizes your mind and attracts conditions consistent with the subconscious. And this is why it's very, like we say in Spanish, muy importante, extremely important for you to pay attention, because the moment you deposit in this space, in the inner man becomes magnetized and starts attracting to it things that are consistent with its wiring. So if the thoughts here are thoughts of confusion, thoughts of rancor, thoughts of strife, you attract conditions of rancor. If the thoughts here that have been deposited are thoughts of disharmony, you will attract conditions of disharmony. Your wealth within the subconscious, this part of your brain, your mind, creates the world in which you live in. So whatever is deposited here is what materializes in your circumstances. Your thoughts, feelings, and visualized imagery in your mind are the organizing principles of your life. But what I want to talk about, you hear me talk a lot about the law of attraction. You determine what goes in here. You determine the input. But once you feed your mind, when this zone becomes fed, it is magnetized and draws conditions towards you that are consistent with the way this part of your being is magnetized. And that is why Paul prays that you will be strengthened power with might, with dominion in the inner man. Inner man, this part of your being, which has been referred to as in biblical as your heart, but that's not, it's your subconscious mind, determines what you will become in life, determines your resilience in life, how you can deal with challenges, how you will deal with tribulation, whatever, it drives your willpower. See how it's flowing down into your willpower. So if you misfeed, you are doing yourself a lot of damage. Your wealth in your mind is the only creative power. Everything you find in your wealth, everything you find in your circumstances has been created in the world of your mind, consciously or unconsciously. A gate check should be, is it pure? Is it honest? Is it a good report? Is it reputable? Is it wholesome? Is it healthy? Is it healthy? So, for example, what you're watching, is it healthy? Is it uplifting? Think about it. Is it uplifting? And the psalmist says, I have a covenant with my eye. I have a covenant, right? I have a covenant that there are certain things I will not look at because it's not healthy. So protect the gateways. Protect your gateways. Okay. So again, the conscious mind, we've talked about the conscious mind being like the choir director, the conscious mind being the puppet master, the master puppeter. Today, I'm also introducing another metaphor. The conscious mind is like the navigator or captain at the helm of a ship. Remember, the captain at the helm of the ship sends orders to the men and women in the engine room. It's the conscious mind or the captain sends orders in the ship to the workers in the engine room. The workers in the engine room of the ship control the boilers, they control the instruments, the gauges, everything. They are responsible for the working of the ship. The people in the engine room do not know where they are going. The person who knows where they are going, because the people in the engine room are buried in the bowel of the ship. So they don't know where the ship is going. The guy that is supposed to know where the ship is going is the captain who is the navigator. So the people in the engine room follow the orders of the captain and navigator. The workers in the engine room obey the captain because he's in charge. Because the captain is supposed to know where he's going, the members of the crew do not talk back to the captain. They simply carry out his orders. Because the captain is supposed to know where he is going, the members of the crew do not talk back to the captain. They simply obey his orders. They simply carry out his orders. The captain is the master of his ship, and his decrees are carried out. In the same way, your conscious mind is the captain and master of your ship, the ship of your life. Your conscious mind, your thoughts are the master of your body, your environment, your conditions, your circumstances, and all your affairs. Your subconscious mind takes orders from your thoughts. It takes the orders your thoughts give it, and it accepts them as true. And it does not question those orders given by the conscious mind. If you repeatedly say something to yourself, for example, I can't afford it, and you keep repeating, I can't afford it, Your subconscious mind takes your word because you keep repeating it. And because it takes you at your word, your subconscious mind will see to it that you will not be in a position to buy what you want. The moment you send the signal and keep sending it, it will take it as gospel, and it has its responsibility of seeing to it that because you say you can't afford it, it will ensure that you are not in a position to buy what you want. As long as you say, I can't afford that car, that house, that vacation, that education for my children, you will go through life experiencing the lack of all these things. And you will believe your circumstances made it so. It will not occur to you that you have created the circumstances yourself by your own negative and faulty thoughts. So your feelings are going to water that thought process and anchor it and make it rooted. And when you're filled with the word of God, when you're filled by the Spirit of God, when your spirit man is strengthened, you are then also plugged and tapped into divine intelligence. So let me just give you an example. Think about your business. And if you've got this place filled with God's thoughts, giving you direct access to divine intelligence, intelligence of the kingdom of God, who can stand against your business? Who can stand against your career? You're connected to divine counsel. If you fill this place with garbage, all the channels are blocked with garbage. But just think about this channel being open with God thoughts, God narrative, the God line, the God cable, so you can receive wisdom, knowledge, insight, intuition directly. How will we not create the most influential men and women of God